Hello and welcome to a new episode of Southeastern Q&A, an in-depth discussion with various members of the Southeastern community. I'm Stephen Dodolo, and joining us today is Dr. Sanichiro Yoshida, a professor of physics here on campus who is also an official USA judo coach. So, the first question I want to ask you is, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Okay, I was born in Tokyo, Japan, and came to the United States in 1999. And I'm a scientist and engineer in the field of applied physics, and also I've been practicing judo for now 55 years. And I teach here physics courses and judo classes.
Wow, that's amazing. So, second question I have for you is, what is judo and how does it stand out from other martial arts?
Okay, judo was invented by Dr. Jigoro Kano in 1882. What he did was he changed the teaching style of jujutsu to judo. Now in Japanese, do means way, can be a physical way or way of living. So he was not really fond of way the jujutsu teachers are teaching judo, were teaching judo at that time, because mostly the purpose of jujutsu was to attack others and sometimes kill. And Dr. Kano was an educator, and he thought we could use that practice for educations. And also, it's a way of living, so judo is a lifelong learning thing. So therefore, judo is not necessarily a technique to attack people, but through those practice, you improve yourself. So self-discipline, that's the biggest difference. And also, probably you know Aikijutsu and Aikido, and Kendo is a Japanese fencing. Also there's a Kenjutsu and Kendo. So there are many arts became do. So judo is one of them.
Okay. So, what is your class all about for the average student?
We have about average probably 15 to 18 enrollment every semester. And I teach the fundamental philosophy of judo, Kodokan judo, and basic techniques, including standing techniques, how to throw others, and ground techniques, and so forth. And also I emphasize Dr. Kano's words, like respect each other, or try your best, and don't focus too much, win or lose, but improve yourself every time. I try to emphasize on that.
So, let's say that I'm the average student that attends your class.
Mm-hmm.
What would an average day in that class, I know you kind of covered this in the previous question, but what would it kind of encompass? Like, what would I do?
Well, probably first 2 weeks, you'll feel lots of pains in the muscles, because I'd like to make sure every student, especially beginners, don't get injured. So I will focus on building basic strength. And after that, I'll teach little by little how to move. The movement is the most important element of judo, not strength, how to move. And be aware where your center of weight is. Be aware where the opponent's center of weight is. And so judo is a game to break opponent's balance. So that's the first thing I'd like to, I teach every semester, how to move. Move stably, how to stand, what is a big, good posture, things like that. And then about middle of the semester, we'll start the actual throwing techniques. And towards the end of semester, like now, we do sparring. We throw each other.
So have you ever thought about hosting competitions in between your students or perhaps joining another competition with said students?
Well, it's my dream to have organized competitions on campus. I think that will happen, but not yet. But some of our students compete nationally. As a matter of fact, 2 weeks ago, Jonah competed in Texas A&M for the national championship of college students, and he did very well. And also, I think he is planning to compete again next week in Mississippi. And he's not the only person. There are many other students who competed in the past.
So, how do students benefit from your class?
Well, I think there are several benefits for them, and I want you to ask them directly if you want. But what I see is there are a couple of things. One is I see some students who did not have confidence, self-confidence at the beginning of the semester. They build up strong confidence after the semester. And those students would sign up for the judo club, which meets after every classes. And then I see more self-confidence in them. And also, many of them, I think, become healthier after taking one semester of judo class. Some students lose 20 pounds in one semester. I think that's another benefit.
So, how many students would you say have been impacted by your class?
Impacted? What do you mean by impacted?
I guess influence in some way, made them better persons for who they are. That's a hard question to answer, but let me tell you one thing. After each judo class, official kinesiology class, judo club meets. And what pleases me is that many former students stay in the club and they'll come back and they will practice. So I think that's a good impact, in my opinion. That's amazing. Is there anything you would like the average student who might be interested in your class to know, like any final thoughts or words you'd like to say to?
Everybody's welcome, and please try. It's fun. Yeah, and you learn a lot. And also, you become much healthier. Yeah.
We definitely need that here on campus.
Yes.
We will be right back with Sergeant Michelle Blanchard, RAD instructor for the University Police Department. This is Southeastern Q&A.
My grandfather was a case in that study. He worked as a firefighter where the Tuskegee Airmen trained. He and I were phenomenally close. The syphilis study happened for 40 years. Penicillin was found to be the most effective treatment, but the men were denied the treatment. Interestingly enough, I've had someone tell me that they were concerned about getting the vaccine because of the syphilis study. And I always, try to educate or provide some information about what happened. But then I said, you're talking about something that happened to my family. And I've taken both of my vaccines. I'm doing this for them. Health is greater than wealth, and it's really up to us to take ownership of our health and this story.
The thing that drives me every day as a dad is him. His real name is Darion, and we call him Day for short. Every day he's hungry for something, whether it's affection, attention, knowledge. And there's this huge responsibility in making sure that when he's no longer under my wing, that he's a good person. I think the advice I would give is you don't need to know all the answers. The craziest thing was believing that your dad knew everything. So as a dad, you felt like you had to know everything. You had to get everything right. It's okay to make mistakes. Just do it from the right place. As long as it's coming from love, then, it kind of starts to work itself out. I want him to be able to sit back one day and go, we worked together, we did a good job. I'll say my kid's pretty dope.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it. When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person.
Surprise!
My support team is amazing. The educational director here, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for.
And to see you makes me proud.
I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back to Southeastern Q&A, where we now are joined by Sergeant Michelle Blanchard, RAD instructor for the University Police Department. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing fine today. So can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
My name is Michelle Blanchard, like you said. I've been at Southeastern since 2020. I graduated here in 2020 with a criminal justice degree. And then I decided that I wanted to be the police, so I started working here.
So can you tell me what the RAD program is and what exactly it stands for?
So RAD, or RAD, stands for Rape Aggression Defense for Women's Self-Defense. So it is a women's self-defense course. It's a 9 to 12 hour course. You learn different techniques that are viable options for in case you're attacked during the class.
How and when did this program begin?
So at Southeastern, it began in 1995, I believe, before I was born. They started having it with the police department and offering it to women on campus. It started, an officer in the police department started communicating with the RAD program itself and started teaching it. But RAD has been around since 1986, I believe.
So what would a student expect to see while attending this program or class?
So the class is set up as a lecture, and then we discuss topics, and then we turn into the techniques. So once they start doing the techniques, their confidence level rises, and they learn the techniques that they can use during the course, which I can't really say.
So why do you think this program is really important for students to attend?
So every woman needs this class. They need the situational awareness that happens everywhere. A lot of women on campus are not, they don't live here, they're commuters. So whenever they go back home or wherever they are, we want them to be safe and know that what's around them and their surroundings and be able to act upon it if needed.
So can you tell me how many people from Southeastern have attended this program?
So about 200 women have completed the program, but hundreds of them signed up. It's just a very committed course. You have to be committed and have to be invested in it. So it's 9 to 12 hours, so that's a big commitment. So we struggle a little bit with people completing the course, but once they get into the techniques and once they really get into the course, that's when they love it and they finish out.
Is there anything you would like the average student that might be interested to know about? Any final words, perhaps?
It's a very fun, interactive course. It's not very boring at all. We make it interesting. But if they want more information about it, they can talk to any officer on campus. We all have the resources to give them the next upcoming class or just where they can reach out or where they can look for that information.
Well, this has been an amazing experience getting to learn about your program. I want to thank you for joining our show today. You've been a rad guest for us today.
Thank you.
That's about all the time we have today. We want to thank Sergeant Michelle Blanchard, RAD instructor for the University Police Department, for taking time to talk with us today. Join us next time for Southeastern Q&A, when we will learn a little more about the talented and innovative individuals who are shaping the future of Southeastern Louisiana University.